Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Action Force Desert Rat from 1982. So where this figure fits in the grand scheme of things. We all know G.I. Joe, created in 1964. Followed very closely in Britain by ActionMan in 1966, who at the time were virtually indistinguishable. And they were produced by Palitoy. Now in Britain, Palitoy were also the producers of Star Wars. And as the Star Wars 3 3/4 scale figures took over the world at that point, Palitoy decided to rescale their Action Man figures into a 3 3/4 scale, and that became Action Force. So this figure is from the very first series of Action Force figures, where they were simply scaled down Action Man. 3 3/4 size military figures featuring different uniforms from around the world. Now there were 18 figures produced in this first wave, and this Desert Rat is actually one of the harder ones to find. He's also one of the most unique. He was the only figure in this line to feature those legs wearing shorts, and he was the only figure in this line to feature this head. His arms and his torso, however, were reused quite a few times across the Action Force line. And he also looks like a predecessor of Dusty, who was also part of the Action Force line later on when they started bringing over G.I. Joes unaltered from the American counterparts. Unlike those later G.I. Joes, he features very, very simple articulation. It's exactly what you'd expect to see with a vintage Star Wars figure. Bit of a difference though is these have really flexible arms and legs. You can see they flex quite a bit. And also the foot pegs, they're actually the small hole type that we'd find on post 1995 Star Wars figures. So if you're ever looking for a stand for these guys, a later edition Star Wars stand will do the job. Now the Desert Rat comes with two accessories, the first one being an M60. He looks okay with it, but he doesn't really hold it very well. And he also comes with this small plastic detonator, which, due to the way his hands are formed, there's no way he can hold onto it. And due to the way the detonator's formed, doesn't really stand up on its own either. So it's a little bit useless. So Desert Rat is by no means a figure for your average G.I. Joe collector. If you're English, it'll definitely hold some nostalgia value. But if you're not, unless you're interested in weird variants of the early days of the G.I. Joe line, there's not going to be a great deal for you with this figure. But I think he's interested enough to warrant his place in the Action Force history. So this has been Luke with the Action Force Desert Rat. Thanks for watching.